Be agreed to, and I call the honourable member for Holt.
Deputy Speaker, and I would like to thank the member for Latrobe for moving this motion that relates to terrorism and terrorism offences relating to the 2016 Christmas Day terror plot and other matters, and talks about the number of people that are being charged, the number of people who have been convicted, the number of people before the courts on terrorism offences, the disruption that's has occurred to terrorist plots by the AFP and our intelligence agencies, and just it talks about the issue of violence and extremism that we're confronting collectively. This has a very personal aspect for me, Deputy Speaker, as I've said in this place on numerous occasions, and particularly as a personal aspect for, I'm sure, two people and others that will be watching the address that I give here this evening. On the 23rd of September 2014, a terrorist took place in my electorate of Holt, in a place I never thought would ever feel the touch of terrorism, and that was at the Endeavour Hills police station, when a young individual attempted to kill two police officers, counter-terrorism officers. And if it wasn't for the bravery of one of those, or both of those officers, but if it wasn't for the response of one of those officers in a life-threatening situation, both officers would have died. My children used to play in the area when they were younger. This was one of the first events that happened in the Western world post a particular edict that was issued by the Islamic State about attacking police officers. Little did I know that it would happen on my doorstep on the 23rd of September, in the evening of the 23rd of September 2014. Mr Deputy Speaker, there were two very fine individuals that were involved in that event, two police officers, and I'm proud to say that I know both of those police officers as friends and as two individuals that have experienced a lot. The media pays attention, Deputy Speaker, to the immediacy of the event, but those two individuals still live with that night. We are waiting for the coroner's findings, and I'm hoping that after nearly 3 years that those two officers find some peace when the coroner brings down his findings into that night. And I'm quite sure that the officers will be mentioned very favourably in terms of their endeavours and what they did on that evening. But that evening is going to live with them for the rest of their lives. And when we're talking about terrorism, we're talking about the impact that it's never going to leave those two individuals. And I just wanted to assure them, because they will see this speech, to thank them for their sacrifice, to thank them for what they did, and to know that I'll continue to support them and remember the sacrifice that they made that night on the 23rd of September 2014. And also, I was not involved in Rising, but I happened to stumble across Rising before it occurred, which was the Anzac Day plot. And I'd particularly like to thank the Special Operations Group that were involved in that, and in particular one individual who I'd call the spiritual head of the Special Operations Group, and that's Bill Duncan, and thank Bill for his insight, for his support of his officers, and for the guidance that he provides to the officers in the Special Operations Group. What we are confronting here, Deputy Speaker, is an ideology as powerful as one that I've ever seen. And I think what the public needs to understand, that notwithstanding potential combat victories in Syria and Iraq, that this ideology is not just going to be extinguished. We are going to be dealing with the manifestations of this ideology, this perversion, for a long period of time. And I would counsel those that would think that because we're going to defeat these people, that we won't see events occurring on our shore. I had said in 2014 that I thought, on the basis of what I was being told by intelligence agencies, that we would have a terrorist attack in our country, and it occurred. We will have other events, Deputy Speaker, as you know, that will happen on our shores. And one thing I'll tell those that might be even thinking about perpetrating this is this: never underestimate the Australian people. Never underestimate their strength and resolve. Our values, Deputy Speaker, our society will always be and always outlast those that seek to divide us and seek to terrorise us. They make a mistake, as you can see with what they've done in Manchester and other attacks on English soil, to awaken the blitz spirit of the British. They will find the same will occur to them if they try to do this in this country. They will never break our resolve. We will defeat them not just militarily but ideologically. We won't succumb to their threat of terrorism. We won't succumb to what they're going to try and do to our country.
I thank the